4.0 out of 5 stars. Best citrus juicer I've found at this price. We just received our Breville 800CPXL citrus press after the holidays and have used it several times since. Compared to the low end, and much less expensive, plastic Krups version we replaced, which kept tripping our GFCI, I rate this product 4.5 stars out of 5. It falls just short of perfection, but is nonetheless the most elegant and functional citrus juicer I've been able to find at this price point. Likes: 1. Beautiful die-cast design, feels substantial and stays put when pressing citrus. Kudos to the industrial design team for turning a juicer into a work of art. This is by far the best looking electric citrus press on the market. 2. Brushed stainless exterior, goes with any decor and looks great on countertop. No reason to store it away. 3. Removable strainer and juice basin are easy to hand wash. I recommend using a small brush or toothbrush to help clean out the pulp. 4. Can press an 8-ounce glass of orange juice in less than a minute and works with lemons, mandarins, oranges, and grapefruits without changing elements. Areas for improvement: this juicer works well and beats others I've tried. However, there are a few areas that Breville engineers could improve in their next model. None of these recommendations should cause you to avoid purchasing this unit, but I list them here nonetheless since there's always room to improve most products. 1. Doesn't handle large grapefruit as well as I'd like. Still left some juice/pulp in the skin, which I squeezed out by hand. Breville could consider offering a larger snap-on attachment more suitably sized for pressing grapefruit. 2. Sometimes the skin of the orange remains stuck inside the top of the press, requiring manual extraction. Maybe I'm pressing too hard, but this still seems to happen from time to time. On a few occasions, I stalled the motor completely, which surprised me. However, stalling the motor didn't cause the GFCI to keep tripping like the Krups model we replaced. 3. The electrical cord is nicely designed, but a little too short. I'd prefer to see a 6 cord to reach to the nearest outlet while allowing flexibility in where to place the juicer on the countertop. 4. If you leave the juicer out on the countertop where there's a cabinet above, the handle, press, bangs against the top of the cabinet and requires a little finesse to pull it towards the edge of the countertop when you're ready to use it. The typical height between the countertop and bottom of a cabinet is 18+/1, and often the face frame of the cabinet protrudes about 1/2 or so below the bottom of the cabinet underside. If Breville offered a locking position with the handle down, this wouldn't be a problem and it would be easier to slide out the juicer into position from the back of the counter. 5. The handle itself seems a little flimsy when compared to the rest of the die-cast machine. While it's functional and certainly strong enough, I would prefer a solid convex die-cast handle arm, oval cross-section, versus the inverted U-type cross-section of the current design. Although the current arm does appear to be die-cast, during the extraction process, juice and pulp tend to splatter on the concave underside of the handle. This makes cleaning the handle a little harder than it should if the handle cross-section were convex on top and bottom. Overall, this is an excellent product with bold design and good looks. I recommend this model to anyone who wants to add freshly squeezed citrus to your daily or weekly regimen. I can't comment on the long-term reliability of the motor since we've only had the unit for a few weeks. But so far so good. 1.0 out of 5 stars. Now 2 have died, total plastic junk inside. I first bought this unit from Amazon in 2009 and it worked fine, until something inside broke and it wouldn't work at all. It was barely out of warranty, by just a couple weeks, and Breville replaced it free under the warranty, That was a nice gesture, though I felt that a unit this expensive should not have broken so quickly. I had only used it once or twice a week for the year I had it. Now the replacement juicer has failed in a similar fashion to the first one. Something inside broke and it won't work anymore. This time it's been 1 year and 9 months and Breville simply says it's out of warranty and they won't do anything for me. They suggested I take it to a repair shop. There isn't any within 100 miles of where I live, and I have to pay for parts and labor to have it fixed. This machine is too fragile to justify its price. It looks heavy duty, but there are weak plastic parts inside. November 14, 2012. The positive reviews for this product are from people who haven't had it very long. As long as it is still working, this is a decent juicer. However, it is very fragile inside and breaks much too quickly. It's an expensive product designed to fail, as my experience reveals. Since the second juicer broke after 21 months of light use, and Breville offered nothing but a repair option at my expense, nearly the price of a new juicer, I decided to see if I could fix it myself. After all, it was either that or the trash bin, so I had nothing to lose but a little bit of time. Thanks to another reviewer, I found that at least some of the internal parts could be purchased from replacement parts. So I disassembled my dead unit. This turned out to be a very difficult process due to 3 extremely tight, deeply recessed screws which hold the unit together. 2 of them finally came out with a huge amount of effort, but I had to drill out the 3rd one. Finally, after getting the unit apart, I saw exactly what the issue is with this juicer and why it fails shortly after the warranty expires with only light to moderate use. While the outside case of this unit is metal, and looks heavy duty, the drive mechanism, which bears all the force of the motor-driven juicing mechanism, is made out of ultra-lightweight, cheapo, flimsy plastic. The drive mechanism, which consists of several gears, are all made of this extremely lightweight plastic, about what you would expect to find in a children's $5 toy. The super thin gear teeth were stripped, which is why the unit stopped working. There is no possibility that this unit could stand up to years of even light to moderate use. I found that the broken core gear was available at replacement parts and I decided to give it a try at $14 delivered. After much effort I did succeed at replacing the part and now the unit works like new again. So I did revive my old dead juicer, but it's still being driven with design to break parts, so it can't possibly last very long. I'm glad I got it fixed to get a little use out of this horrible, terrible product which I paid way too much for. But I will never, ever buy another Breville product. I don't want to support a company that is perpetrating a total scam on its customers with a unit that looks robust but is actually ultra-cheap, flimsy plastic designed to fail. This unit is one of the most flagrant examples of designed to fail manufacturing that you'll ever find. Breville should be very ashamed of this product and of their whole approach to making and marketing appliances. 3.0 out of 5 stars. Difficult to get replacement plastic gear, dome wobbly on arm. I bought this juicer on December 14, 2009. Worked great until one of the most essential plastic parts, 800CPXL/30 core gear, inside broke early February 2011, the plastic gear splines stripped off. The manufacturer referred me to replacementparts.com. They didn't have it in stock but said they could order it. So I placed an order Monday, February 7, 2011. On Monday, March 14, 2011, to 5 weeks after I placed the order, replacementparts.com replied that the part is discontinued. They suggest I try to buy a busted one on eBay for parts. When I called Breville USA, the person who answered the phone confirmed that the piece was discontinued but gave me the numbers of 2 repair centers in nearby states. I called both, but neither one had the part in stock. I called the Australian headquarters and they had the part in stock and were ready to take my credit card number and ship until I told them I wanted it shipped to America. They couldn't do that. I had to continue to deal with the USA branch. I emailed Breville USA again and they replied with a list of repair centers for the whole country. I had to call 8 of those before I finally found one of them that had the part I need in stock. All the rest would have had to order it and I had a pretty good idea how that would end up. All I needed was one of the 3 gears, but all these guys had was a kit with all 3 of the plastic gears plus some other metal part, at 5 times the price of the 1 gear I needed at eReplacementParts.com. But I ordered it anyway. Hopefully it will get here reasonably soon. I emailed the Breville headquarters in Australia and they said they had faith in their American counterparts to solve my problem and had forwarded my email to them. Then, in a second email, Breville USA finally told me, the core gear has not been discontinued, it is currently out of stock with an ETA of mid-May. Well, I guess that would be news to their key parts vendor, eReplacementParts.com, cause they definitely used the word discontinued. And their own phone operators also said the same thing. And several of the other 7 repair centers told Maine the same thing. So there seems to be a bit of disconnect between the manufacturer and their field service repair centers and even among different people at their US headquarters. Other than the plastic gears, I like the design. That's why I give it 2 stars instead of 1, and that's why I'm taking all the trouble and expense to find this part and repair the machine myself instead of just tossing it and buying something else. If it weren't for this problem of the plastic gears, I'd probably give this 5 stars. But the fact I have to go to such great lengths to get a crucial part after only a little over a year from when I bought it really disappoints. The fact outfits are still selling this thing brand new and you can't get parts for it surprises me. The fact that the part will supposedly become available in May takes a little of the sting out. But by then, I'm not sure oranges will be in season anymore. Before I broke down and ordered the plastic gear, I asked both the manufacturer, well, the US branch, anyway, the parent company is in Australia, as well eReplacementParts.com, if I could get a metal replacement gear instead. No way. I finally got my gears. Replaced 2 of them that very day, even though all I really needed was the 1 core gear. Heck, I had to get the whole pack, so figured might as well replace that other while I had it apart. Works great again. I really do like this juicer and I've missed it this last month and a half. But what a pain to get parts. Update. The gear I replaced over a year ago broke again. Luckily, I had the foresight to have ordered another 2 spare core gears from eReplacementParts.com a couple months ago. Not cause the one I ordered last year had busted yet, but cause I was pretty sure it would bust again soon and I didn't want to be stuck for a month or more trying to get parts. The 2 replacement gears came real quick this time. Like a couple days. So the company must have fired up their injection molding machine to make a pile more so they wouldn't be caught like that again. I forgot how annoying it was that the grounding wire to the top plate was so short. It's very difficult and frustrating to get enough clearance to fit the screwdriver to unscrew the terminal. So I cut the ground wire and spliced in another 6 of grounding wire and kept the terminal. It took 2 wire nuts. Now it's a lot easier to disassemble and reassemble. They saved maybe a fraction of a cent by making it so short, but causes a lot of headache. If you decide to repair this yourself, I highly recommend you take the time the first time around to lengthen that ground wire. because you know you are going to have to do it again. This time, after finishing reassembly, the gears seemed to whine more than I remember last time. I took the gearbox apart 2 more times to make sure I aligned the gears right and didn't have any in cockeyed. But I don't see how you can misalign those gears anyway. Last year I simply recycled the heavy white gear lube that was still stuck to the gears and splattered on the inside of the gear case. But this second time I didn't have as much left gear lube over. So my third and last reassembly this time around, I got some thick gear lube and slathered it all over the 3 gears inside in an attempt to quiet it down. But still whined more than I remember. I thought to compare the size of the old gear to the new gear. Aha! The new one was about 1/16 inch larger in diameter. Not the straight spline part that's maybe 1/2, but the wider, approximately 2, helical gear part. I assume this was their attempt to reduce gear lash or in some other way compensate for the core gear's frequent failure by making sure gears interlock more tightly. But then, because the other gears were displaced from where they were designed to be by the oversized gears, so much stress was placed on the last actuation gear with shaft that drives the die-cast reamer that plastic shavings have begun to appear inside the gearbox cover directly under where the shaft protrudes through the top cover. I assume these shavings were coming from the actuation gear with shaft rubbing against either the gearbox cover or the top cover. Breville USA 866-273-8455 didn't seem to know anything about this problem. They told me to call a service center, list it. Neither of the 2 I called, San Francisco, CA, and Colorado Springs, CO, knew anything about this problem. Neither of them had the part in stock. If they order it, I was almost certain they'd only get the new, bigger gear that caused problems. Similarly, when I talked to a representative at earreplacementparts.com, their system only lists the 800CPXL/30 part, and they also didn't know anything about the differently sized versions of the core gear. In my frustration I called Australia at 0116129,384 in vain hope that their world headquarters might have better information. That didn't get me very far. They say US and UK models are completely different from Australia models. Around May 3, 2012 I got a replacement machine. Remember, I really do like this machine a lot when it's working. It's lasted over a year so far, so it's possible those slightly oversized gears they seem to have now are made of sterner stuff. As of April 27, 2014, almost 2 years after I got the replacement machine, it still seems to be running fine. So I suspect the new type of plastic they seem to be using for these gears seems to work better. I really do like this juicer when it's running okay. So I just upgraded my rating from 2 stars to 3 stars. Yeah, it was annoying dealing with the gear breaking, not being able to easily order replacement parts, and then having it bust a second time. But if it weren't for those problems, I'd probably give this 5 stars because I really like the design. In April 2016, fruit dome connector assembly's top fin broke to where the fruit dome and connector assembly kept rotating along with juicing cone. So on April 9, 2016 I bought a new replacement fruit dome connector assembly. But that replacement fruit dome and connector assembly is wobbly, keeps falling out of the press arm. This symptom manifested immediately after I received the replacement fruit dome and connector assembly. The fruit dome and connector assembly is designed to click into a hole in the center of the press arm. The top of the fruit dome has a gray, plastic, cylindrical nub, connector assembly, which has a white plastic O-ring. The hole in the press arm has a ridge around the perimeter of the hole. When you press the dome into the handle, the O-ring compresses enough to get past the ring and then expands enough after it's past the ridge to retain the dome. The O-ring appears intact. I suspect the ridge in the hole of the arm which the fruit dome fits into has somehow worn down to the point where that ridge no longer has enough material to retain the fruit dome via its connector assembly. Either that, or I got the wrong fruit dome and connector assembly to where the press arm doesn't match the fruit dome and connector assembly. But I kind of doubt that because it's not as if there are different fruit dome and connector assemblies to choose from. So it appears I need a whole new press arm. But I don't see that item available as a part anywhere. 4.0 out of 5 stars. Best citrus juicer I've found at this price. We just received our Breville 800CPXL citrus press after the holidays and have used it several times since. Compared to the low end, and much less expensive, plastic Krups version we replaced, which kept tripping our GFCI, I rate this product 4.5 stars out of 5. It falls just short of perfection, but is nonetheless the most elegant and functional citrus juicer I've been able to find at this price point. Likes: 1. Beautiful die-cast design, feels substantial and stays put when pressing citrus. Kudos to the industrial design team for turning a juicer into a work of art. This is by far the best looking electric citrus press on the market. 2. Brushed stainless exterior goes with any decor and looks great on countertop. No reason to store it away. 3. Removable strainer and juice basin are easy to hand wash. I recommend using a small brush or toothbrush to help clean out the pulp. 4. Can press an 8-ounce glass of orange juice in less than a minute and works with lemons, mandarins, oranges, and grapefruits without changing elements. Areas for improvement: this juicer works well and beats others I've tried. However, there are a few areas that Breville engineers could improve in their next model. None of these recommendations should cause you to avoid purchasing this unit, but I list them here nonetheless since there's always room to improve most products. 1. Doesn't handle large grapefruit as well as I'd like. Still left some juice/pulp in the skin, which I squeezed out by hand. Breville could consider